Alright guys, I am here today with a deck tech of this green-white tokens deck I've been playing with recently. Now this is a little bit of a homebrew. I've seen some other people trying out something like this, but this is actually a deck that my father put together and was having a lot of fun with. I looked at it and I thought it looked like a heck of a lot of fun, so I thought I'd build it on here. And I was actually able to build it online here pretty cheap. So the goal of this deck is to just swarm the field with tokens, kind of overwhelm the opponent, and just smash in when you have the chance to. So some of the key cards of this deck, as you can probably guess, is Anointed Procession. That's a big one. Doubles your tokens. Absolutely amazing card. You also have token creators like Saproling Migration, a really strong card that we got out of Dominaria. It looks on the surface like a 2/1/1s for 2, but whenever you get to that late game and you can kick it for 4, when you probably already have an Anointed Procession on the field, very strong. We also have token generators in Pride Sovereign and SRAM's Expertise, along with Regal Caracal. So there is Legion's Landing as well, which provides 1 token. So in reality, we only have, what, 2, 3, 4, 5 actual token generating cards in the deck, which seems a little low for a deck based around tokens, but I've had a lot of success with it. Now, some cards that are helping it just kind of smooth things out. One is Legion's Landing. This card has been fantastic for allowing us to get the extra white mana that we need for some of our heavy white cards, in addition to just generating tokens every turn on its own. Llanowar Elves has been very good. It's providing us with mana early and letting us get to some of these 4 mana, 5 mana cards a turn quicker. I do believe it's questionable whether or not this card really needs to be in the deck, or if it would be better served by, say, a Servo Exhibition or just a 2 mana token creation spell. But I figure Llanowar Elves is in standard. It's so strong. You got to try it out in there, right? So I've been running with it. Shauna Sisay's, if that's how you say it, I'm not sure. Legacy, very good card in a token matchup. She's coming down usually as like a 8/8 or something bigger. Can't be the target of abilities. Really strong card. This is a card here that's really impressed me. Song of Freyalise. This lets you just throw out the cards in your hand, right? Your first 2 turns gives them all the ability to tap for mana. It's like an old Cryptolith Rite out here on the battlefield. So good. And then the third step is just a 1/1 counter on everything. It's like the -2 on the Nissa from Oath. So strong whenever you have like 8 tokens on the battlefield. Again, Pride Sovereign's in here as a token generator. It kind of gives some cat synergies with Regal Caracal. Really strong. And Banalish War Marshal, oh my gosh, can be difficult to cast at triple white, but giving all other creatures +1/+1. I mean, I was playing a game yesterday. I got 16 tokens on the board in 1 turn, followed it up with this guy, and then just swung for 32. Won the game out of nowhere. So good. Shalai, Voice of Plenty, is actually a really cool card in this deck, because not only does it provide a flying threat, so it kind of shores up some weaknesses the deck may have had otherwise, it gives everything hexproof, so it stops spot removal. Not that they're probably going to be killing a lot of, 1/1 servos or sapperlings, but it does provide that. And for 6 mana, which is not that difficult to get to in this deck, you just get to put a 1/1 counter on every creature you control, which is absolutely huge. Amazing card. SRAM's Expertise, 1, it creates 3 servos, exactly what this deck wants to do. 2, it gets to power out something else, like it can throw a Pride Sovereign on the battlefield. It can get you a Banalish Marshal without actually having to pay the triple white costs. Regal Caracal is so good in this deck too. I've been very happy with this. I'm not saying it's the perfect list for a green-white tokens kind of build, but it is what I've been enjoying so far. In terms of lands, we got a pretty standard forest plain spread with some Sheffet Dunes to power up all the tokens, and then Scattered Groves and Sun Petal Groves for my dual lands. It can be a little frustrating with these guys coming in tapped, especially if you have a turn 1 play you really want to get through, but it's the price you're going to have to pay whenever you have so many double white and even a triple white card in the deck. Now the sideboard I'm a little bit more iffy on. I'm not actually sure here. I have 4 Sealaways because this card just seems so good. Like there are almost everything in standard this guy takes care of. It is an extremely powerful card. I was running a couple Baffling Inns in here as well, but I've cut them just for some more sideboard stuff that I think may have a little more impact. I'm running a 1-of on Ixalan's Binding in case there's something bigger that's just crazy that I can't take care of with Seal Away. And then I do have 2 Anointer Priests. It's possible these should be main decked, but I feel like they slow the deck down a little bit and they're just gaining life. In most games I haven't been losing because I'm not there on the life gain part, right? I'm just not hitting some of the cards or, you know, getting things to synergize the way I want them to. But Anointer Priest seems like a solid card to bring in some slower matchups. Naturalize, just for some destruction of artifacts, enchantments, pretty standard thing there. And then 3 Heroic Interventions, because let's be honest, guys, this deck just dies to not Anger the Gods, but what is it? Sweltering Suns, right? Sweltering Suns just wrecks us. Fumigate just wrecks us. So having 3 Heroic Interventions in the side for if I play against an approach deck or a mono red deck, I think is going to be pretty impactful. I have 2 Huatlis in the sideboard, and the reason I have this here is because it seems like it does everything I want to do, but maybe it's not good enough for main board, right? Like, its +1 is probably going to put like 5 or 6 counters on Huatli, at least. It's -1, while being pretty strong, it's really going to power up a creature. It's just going to power up 1 creature. And there's not anything I have here that's, you know, trample or unblockable. So it just gets chump blocked by a 1/1 or whatever the opponent has, right? So that's not super exciting. And its -8 is super cool and probably could be played the second turn it's on the board. But by playing Huatli on the first turn, 1, it's vulnerable to dying, and 2, wouldn't I rather just be playing Anointed Procession, Shalai, or Shram's Expertise? And honestly, I think I would. So while this seems like a really cool card, it's just not quite there, I don't think. And then I have 2 Crook of Condemnations. These are just for, you know, like the Eternalize, Embalming, Scarab Gotti decks, the ones that aren't just super fun to play against, right? So I am going to take this deck. We're not going to start a league yet. I'm going to do a league with this deck, but I'm just going to do a 1v1 game. All right, so we are in here in our game. I am going first. That's always a good sign. And my hand, well, it looks okay. It's not anything fantastic. You know, the Saga is not going to do me a lot of good here, but I am going to get to play Shauna into Banalish War Marshal into hopefully Regal Caracal, so I'm going to keep this. I'm going to try it out. Scattered Groves, turn 1, of course. Get this thing in here, get my dual land. It's actually pretty rare for this deck to be able to cast Banalish Marshal on the, you know, 3rd turn, the first time it can be cast. Alright, Renegade Map and Inventor's Fair for our opponent. Interesting. Ooh, so we actually have a turn 3 play here that's probably going to be a little bit better than Banalish War Marshal, just because we're going to be able to hopefully start getting some tokens flowing, right? So I'm going to cast this. Even though it's just a 1/1 right now, it will continue to power itself up. One cool thing about this Saga that I did not immediately realize is it lets you tap those for mana until your next turn, so it lets them tap on your opponent's turn as well. Looks like we're up against a mono blue kind of control-ish deal here. I played against one of these decks that was, you know, throwing out that triple blue flyer. Really scary card, truth be told. Alright, so I'm going to play Sheffet Dunes. I would love to play Legion's Landing here. That would just be a great card. But I am going to have to play... Yeah, I think Pride Sovereign is the right call. You know, I would like to have more mana. I would like to have another land here. But if I play Pride Sovereign, I think it's just got a lot higher upside for me. You know, the other one would make... Shauna a 3/3 and make it a little bit better to attack in with this turn, but being able to exert this next turn, get those tokens, just seems like a stronger play. And again, if I can draw a land, I can actually activate that and hopefully cast Banalish War Marshal, powering those tokens up as well. Alright, so what are they playing here? 4 mana. Reverse Engineer. Okay. I was kind of confused they were playing that on their main phase, but it is a sorcery. I haven't actually seen this card played before, but I do think it's a good card. I remember seeing this and wondering if anybody was going to be able to break that thing. Alright, so a lot of historic synergies happening with this deck. Playing an Ornithopter. Really wondering if they're playing this just for like the synergies or what's happening. And they did put a card on the top of their deck, so we can keep that in mind. Ooh, perfect. A Plains. That is exactly what I wanted to see, because I'm going to be able to activate Pride Sovereign and play Banalish War Marshal here in the same turn. And then next turn, I will be able to play Regal Caracal by attacking in with just several creatures here, right? It is worth noting I could play Song of Freyalise and still tap 4 mana. To get this and Legion's Landing, but I would not then be able to activate the Pride Sovereign, and I think it's just worth activating the Pride Sovereign here. Alright, so I'm going to do this. Get my tokens, make Shauna a lot bigger, and then I'm going to tap my 3 on Banalish War Marshal. Not War Marshal, just Banalish Marshal, I guess. And that's really going to power up my guys. I imagine they're probably going to chump block Shauna, but we'll see what happens. Not the one I was expecting them to chump block with, interestingly enough. It is unfortunate Pride Sovereign's not going to untap next turn. But if I play Legion's Landing, I can flip it in the same turn. But it actually made, if I draw a land, it's probably just worth playing Regal Caracal pre-main phase to give my cats +1/+1. Inspiring Statuary here. I like this card a lot. Seems like a good card. I remember going into Aether Revolt Pro Tour, everybody was speculating on whether that was going to be like the big breakout card, and it never did a lot, but I was always hoping to see a lot from it. Another Reverse Engineer here. They're completely tapped out, and it looks like they are passing the turn. Ooh, Anointed Procession. Now that's an option, because let's see, if I play it, you know, I could just smash in here for a lot of damage. Play Legion's Landing, flip it, and have the mana up to activate it. I can't play Regal Caracal this turn. I could play Song of Freyalise to play something else, but I think that's just going to be a little slow. I think if I flip this, then play Anointed Procession second main, and then drop Regal Caracal next turn, it's just got a lot of upside for me. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, I think we're just going to swing in with everything. One of them's going to get chump blocked, probably my 7/7 by Baral, unless they want to take a lot of damage, which I'm fine with. Nope, he's just going to have that thing bounce off of a cat here. And instead of activating this, I am going to play Anointed Procession. Alright, our opponent with a full hand has access to just about whatever they want here, probably. Alright, Prophetic Prism. It's going to let them draw a card, and it lets them fix their mana, not that they really need to do that. But it does give them another mana open for Inspiring Statuary, so they can tap the Prophetic Prism just on its own. Ooh, an old-style Ornithopter. That's pretty cool. Another Mox Amber. So I'm wondering if they're leading up to just something really big here. Ooh, they're just chaining 3 Mox Ambers together just to get some extra mana. Oh my gosh, is there going to be a 4th? Because they just tapped that one too. If they play out all 4 Mox Amber Tears, that's going to be pretty cool. I like seeing people experiment with this card too. It's a really cool card, and I'm not honestly sure it's like good enough for standard here with our legendary creatures coming down turn 2, but it seems pretty cool. Alright, so they're tapping out for something big here, I think. Commit. Okay, so that's going to put that on top of my deck. That's not the worst case scenario, because I'm playing Regal Caracal, and that's going to pump my cats. So that's okay. And memory. Oh, that's disappointing. They had enough mana to do that, darn it. Alright, so I'm going to get to draw 7 new cards, which in itself, let's be honest, is kind of cool. Oh my gosh, SRAM's Expertise that I'm going to get to run into a Pride Sovereign, and then I'm still going to get to cast Saproling Migration. Yeah, this seems good. My opponent has one last spell to cast here. What are they doing? Artificer's Assistant. Alright, with only 2 blockers up, I don't know how long they're going to last here. Let's see. So I'm going to play the Forest. And I want to throw stuff out pre-combat so I can pump up my Shauna. And let's see. So I'm going to activate SRAM's Expertise. 1, 2, 3, 4. I will cast Pride Sovereign off of it and then cast Saproling Migration afterwards. Alright, so lots of creatures here. I'm going to go ahead and enter combat. Attack with... I think I actually might attack with these guys. Like, one of them's going to get eaten by a Brawl. One's going to get... One may trade with the Artificer's Assistant, but I have enough tokens that getting in for those extra couple points just seems fine here. Alright, so I got him down to 2. Did I not play a land this turn? I really thought I'd... Oh no, that's cycling. I was like, why is it highlighted? But, looks good. We're going to pass the turn here. They're going to go up to 3 off Inventor's Sphere, and now we're going to hope they don't have something just absurd in their hand right now. Alright, they're casting something. What is it going to be? Brawl's Expertise. Return up to 3 creatures or artifacts to the owner's hand, and then of course they get to cast something off of it. So they returned their own cards here, which was not what I anticipated. I guess it's going to let them draw into more with the Prophetic Prisms. I'm not sure what recasting the Ornithopters and Mox Amber here did. Are they playing like that Aetherflux Reservoir deck? Like, is that something where they just want to spew out cards from their hand? I'm not actually familiar with that card. I've heard it be a thing, but I don't know much about it. Oh, Paradoxical Outcome. Okay. Return any number of non-land, non-token permanents you control to their owner's hand. Draw a card for each one you return this way. Okay. Gonna get to replay them after they've drawn a whole bunch of cards again. still a little bit unsure about what they're looking for off of it. You know, if I was more familiar with some of this like fringe standard stuff, I may be able to commentate this a little bit better, but I don't know as of right now. I could just be looking at losing the game off them casting these throughout. I don't know. You know, I'm looking back at my last turn, and I actually think it's possible if I would have activated Sheffet Dunes, I would have had lethal on board. Because if I attacked in with these guys and another cat, I know 3 of them got through. If I would have activated Sheffet Dunes, it would have done the extra couple damage that would have got me there. So that may have been the right call there, and I just got distracted by doing cool stuff with SRAM and all my new cards. Another Baral's Expertise. Still returning their same cards here. Yeah, so there's the Aetherflux Reservoir. So whenever you cast a spell, gain 1 life for each one you've cast, and then this is probably just going to start getting out of hand here. Yeah, they just gained 18 life off of that. That's nasty. But we are going to lose, unfortunately. Yeah, I should have activated Sheffet Dunes last turn, because here they just got us. Cool deck, though, and we now know what it does. Alright, I'm just going to be conceding. They're still playing stuff, but there's no reason for me to at this point. Ah, that is unfortunate. Alright, so we're going to bring in some naturalizes. Don't think we have any need for the heroic interventions. I don't think Huatley's necessary. Ixalan's Binding could be good. They weren't really they weren't attacking with a lot, but they were tapping some artifacts, but I don't think Seal Away is necessary here. This actually might be a good game for Anointer Priest. Trying to figure out what we want to cut here. Shalai seems alright. Gosh, what do we not want? I think we're going to cut 1 Shalai. We're going to cut 1 Caracal just because I think we're going to want to be a little bit lower to the ground here. And Lifelink's great, but at the point where they were just storming off there, wasn't really necessary. And maybe Anointed Procession. We just don't need one of those. And I'll cut the song down to 2. Yeah, let's try this out. I shall play first. Wow, 3 Llanowar Elves, and a land that I cannot cast them off of. This would be a pretty fun hand, but not something I can play. This looks good, though. I like this. Definitely going to keep this, because I'm going to get to turn 1 Llanowar Elves, turn 2 Pride Sovereign, turn 3 Anointed Procession, and then just start going off with Pride Sovereign after that, probably. Yep, definitely keeping. I like this. I'm going to keep that. Because as long as I draw 1 more land, I'm really not too far off of it. The goal here is really just to beat the clock. Alright. Pride Sovereign. Well, I was hoping for a land there. That's a little unfortunate, but I'm probably going to play out the Song and then tap the Elves to activate Pride Sovereign here. Yeah, and then I can just throw out some creatures next turn with my extra mana available from the Song. Yep. Alright. And then I'm going to... Oh, nope. I should wait on this. Do not want to attack. As much as that 2 damage would be nice, I would like to have the creatures available to me. And while Anointed Procession next turn would be pretty cool just to get a lot of extra stuff out, I am going to be playing the SRAM's Expertise just so I can get as many tokens as possible to take full advantage of the Saga's 3rd step here. Ooh, so Sun Petal Grove, that's actually good for me. Oh my gosh, I completely did not activate the Pride Sovereign. I am an idiot. Oh, that was a huge mistake. Absolutely huge mistake. That is bad. What am I even doing? I didn't act... Oh, gosh, I just got off my game because of that. Oh, I just made a mess of what I'm doing. Darn it, darn it, darn it. Because I can't even activate this guy now. Yeah, I messed up. I'm 2 tokens less than I should be. I'm a Banalish Marshal less than I should be, without the ability even to cast a Banalish Marshal next turn. Oh, gosh. Got so caught up in my forgetting to do the end step exert that I just screwed over my whole next turn. Alright, so they're going to get a bunch of counters. They get a bunch of special abilities here this turn. Again, I cannot play Banalish War Marshal. I can play Anointer Priest, which is a little disappointing to say the least. But I will be doing it. I'm going to go ahead and attack in with all of my guys except the Pride Sovereign, just because I'm going to actually exert it this time. And they get Vigilance. I don't know what I'm doing. Man. I could have, I think I actually could have potentially just won the game that turn. If I would have played the Marshal last turn, if I would have activated the Pride Sovereign when I needed to, if I would have attacked with the Pride Sovereign here, if I would have realized it had Vigilance. Oh, read the cards. Because I knew it gave it Go Indestructible and Trample. Didn't even realize the Vigilance thing somehow. I still think it's possible I'm going to be okay in this game. Well, if I would have gotten a way to play my War Marshal there, possibly. But here I am going to be just swinging in with several things here. I can play the Procession if there's need to. I'm going to attack him with these guys. Attacking him with the others doesn't really do me a whole lot of good. I'm only going to get in for 2 damage. No, 4 damage, so better than it could have been, but we'll see if next turn I draw something to be able to maybe cast this Marshal, or maybe I'll get lucky, draw another SRAM's Expertise. This is going to get countered, though, which isn't the worst case scenario in the world if we're being honest. This isn't actually, oh, it does not get countered. It looked like they were thinking about doing it, but it would have been far from worst case scenario. Next turn, the Pride Sovereign is going to untap, and it's pretty reasonable to think I may just attack in with him instead of exerting, just make an all-out swing. Inspiring Statuary. I don't think they're at the point where they can really storm off with Paradoxical Outcome, but I don't actually know that with any certainty. And it looks like they may be. That may be what they're tapping out for here. But if they were, I have to imagine they would have tapped the Mox Amber. Looks like they're thinking better of it. Alright, yeah, there's Paradoxical Outcome. That's not good. We'll see if we can get there. I don't know this deck well enough to say with any certainty that they can or can't. Ooh, what is this? Efficient Construction. When you cast an artifact spell, create a 1/1 token. So they're going to get two tokens out of it, I think. Hopefully I'll be able to play the Marshal, and that'll just be enough to still get it next turn. We'll see. I don't think there's a lot they would be able to play here without having access to blue. Like, they wouldn't be able to play any more Paradoxical Outcomes. They could play something like the, they're casting another Mox Amber. Oh, I guess Mox Amber gives them blue. Sorry. Completely forgot about that. So, technically they do have access to 2 more of those, which it looks like they're going to be getting to here. Because they're going to cast one, bounce all this stuff. Opponent really thinking about what to do. Alright, yeah, so there's another Paradoxical Outcome. They're going to get to cast 2 more artifact spells off of this, at least. Get tons of tokens. Another Paradoxical Outcome here. Now Reverse Engineer. Okay. See if they found anything off of that. Going to combat and passing their turn. So they were not able to get there this turn. Having to discard down, dropping a bunch of lands, of course, here. Alright, Sheffet Dunes is good. I can cast Banalish War Marshal. Could just activate Sheffet Dunes, but this is definitely better. And I think I just swing in with everything here. That has to be the best call, right? Just try to sneak in a little bit of damage on them. They only have 4 blockers. I actually think I have to get through for enough. Okay, so we stole that game out from under them pretty much. Like, we should not have won that game with as many mistakes as I made. We got very lucky that they just didn't quite get to the cards they were looking for. I'm going to be taking Anointer Priest back out. That was not a good choice to include, I don't think. What do I want to put back in? It's not Anointed Procession. It's probably not this. Like, Song of Freyalise did me a lot of good that game. It really powered up my guys. And I don't think it's that crazy of an inclusion if I can just start attacking in with some big stuff. So I'm going to include that. This hand, not great, but I'm gonna keep it. I think it's okay. All right, play that. Ixalan's Binding here, which could be pretty impactful. Like, Inspiring Statuary seems like a really good card. I may be able to hit with that, and then they can't play anymore. Like, of course, what's it called? Aetherflux Reservoir is an even better one, but without this being instant speed, Statuary just seems like the best card to hit with it. Banalish War Marshal, that's actually pretty okay here. So I'm probably going to be playing out the Pride Sovereign, then playing SRAM's Expertise with the Banalish War Marshal into it. Yeah, I think so. Ooh, wish I would have drawn that Sapperling Migration a turn ago. Still a good card, though. So next turn I'm going to go SRAM's Expertise into Banalish War Marshal, unless they play Inspiring Statuary. Like, Mox Amber's not an awful card for me to hit with the Binding, but the Statuary is just really what's allowing them to cast all their stuff, because like Paradoxical Outcome and stuff doesn't have Improvise. Ooh, Shauna, that's good. I have some pretty exciting plays here, honestly. I still think SRAM's Expertise into Banalish War Marshal is just definitely the best, but next turn getting to play out both of these guys or have the Ixalan's Binding or even Shalai just seems very good. Of course, got to remember to actually cast a card off of SRAM's Expertise this time. Almost just hit no again, just because I didn't double-click the Marshal. I'm going to go ahead and attack with the Pride Sovereign. I'll be able to exert it next turn if I need to, which honestly is a question at this time, I think. Like, obviously, it would be nice to get some tokens off of it. Next turn, I'd be able to attack in for 6, another 6, so 12. If I can top deck into something cool, you know, another War Marshal or something. I keep calling it War Marshal. I'm doing very bad with that. Alright, so that's not ideal. A reason that Shalai would have been a pretty solid pickup there, but that's okay. We'll be able to get back on track. Paradoxical Outcome. Seems like they're having a pretty tough time with their draw here. I have to imagine so, at least. If they're playing a Paradoxical Outcome on one card. Another Sheffet Dunes. Alright, so I could play the Pride Sovereign and Shauna. And Shauna seems good because I'll be able to smash in for a bunch with it. Seems better than Sapperling Migration here. Or I could play the Marshal and Shauna. Yeah, I think this is better, even though it's going to put me one turn farther behind on activating the Sovereign. I could play Shalai, but I don't get to cast 2 spells then. Yeah, this is fine. I'm going to cast that, go ahead and go to Combat, and then I'll play Shauna post-combat. Yeah, she's a 5/5. Next turn, we'll be able to hopefully throw out a Saproling Migration, get her up to 7, maybe even another one of, probably another one of these guys too. This is going to be another Baral. That's going to be unfortunate. Yeah. Another reason I should have played Shalai, but I think it was just a better call to get 2 spells out that turn. I think that's just a more reasonable call there. Alright, so we get we can get Shalai out here, and Saproling Migration, and Shauna. I think Shauna's the right call. Yeah, Shalai just seems better with as much as they've been playing some Baral's expertises. I almost feel safer doing that. Yeah, I think so. Plus, I'm at the point where I can actually start activating Shalai, which is pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and attack in for 1. And then play Shauna, who will not attack for a bunch now, but will hopefully attack for a decent bit next turn. Okay, so there's a Baral. And what do we have here? Paradoxical Outcome, maybe? You know, I actually felt pretty confident about this Ixalan's Binding, and then it hasn't done me a ton just because my opponent hasn't got to play anything that's really getting them there, but it may honestly be worth playing this on Baral, just because it makes their spells cheaper, but they've got 6 lands out. I don't think that's too much to worry about. So there's Paradoxical Outcome on 2 cards. Gonna get to replay those and still have 4 mana available to them. They only have 2 mana available. Okay, so playing another Mox Amber. They technically could play Paradoxical Outcome again, but they're just going to reverse engineer, which I think gives me some safety for a turn. Alright, so if I use Ixalan's Binding on Baral, I get to swing in freely, and then play Saproling Migration to make Shauna into 5. I'd be attacking for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but that's not quite going to get me there. So I'm going to have to play something else here that I hope does, which is going to be the Nalish War Marshal into Saproling Migration. And I'm going to swing out again. Going to probably block the 2/2 servo here. Take them to 1. Nope, going to get eaten by Shauna. I do not mind that. They have enough mana where the Brawl probably isn't doing them a lot of good on the making things a little cheaper plan. Another Reverse Engineer. They do still have 5 mana up, but they had to pay in a lot there. Are they going to find something? Alright, so there's Inspiring Statuary. We'll see if they can do anything to make use of it this turn, because otherwise I feel pretty confident I'm just going to put Ixalan's Binding on that next turn. And they have access to 4 mana here if they want to play Paradoxical Outcome. They have to tap both of the remaining lands, but they do get a Mox Amber back, and that Mox Amber actually can't tap for a color. Yeah, so they are going to play it. Get to draw 3, but they only have Mox Amber. Okay, yeah, so they had seen enough there. They went ahead and conceded. I do feel like we were lucky to get these games. You know, that first game kind of came out of nowhere. The second game, it was not the deck's fault. It was my fault for being so slow on that. And then here, we just kind of beat their poor draws. This wasn't the most beautiful game win. I do believe the deck played out very well, and the deck did what I want it to do usually. My playing was not stellar. But, you know, a win is a win, so we will take it, and we'll try this deck out again here in a minute. Thanks for watching, guys.